Hi, everybody. How are you guys? Good? Cool. Thank you guys for coming to the monetization track. Today we have a lot of exciting sessions to help you guys learn, taking best practices to build your business. Our first session is on leveraging Facebook for e-commerce. Today we have Mary and Nicholas to talk about how to drive sales across devices.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm just skipping the slides. Retailers around the world are building what is commonly known as omni-channel experiences today. And what that means is they're busy connecting their stores with their websites, with their mobile apps, to provide an integrated, seamless customer experience. And the reason they're doing this is that people are fundamentally omni-channel. People want to shop across all devices, across all channels, sometimes at the same time. And what we're going to talk about today is how retailers, whether they're pure play or store-based, can really leverage Facebook to grow and accelerate their business. It's an exciting time to be in retail. Everything is being reinvented right now, including marketing. Interesting thing happened last year in 2013, according to eMarketer. In the United States, people spent more time consuming digital content than watching TV. And this is the first time that such a channel shift has occurred since the 1950s, when TV overtook radio. So it's a big, big deal. And 50% of that time, half of that time, is spent on mobile devices. As a matter of fact, when looking at December, according to Comscore, half of the time spent in e-commerce was spent on a mobile device, both tablets and smartphones. And what people are doing on mobile is essentially consuming more and more apps. Apps represent about 80% of the time spent in all e-commerce experiences, and that's growing. And my favorite stat is that 79% of smartphone users actually can't bear the thought of being separated from their device for more than 2 hours in their day. And I think a lot of us are like that in this room. So as you stand here in F8, you have to remember this idea that mobile really is not just a technology. Mobile is really a consumer behavior. And it's still relatively new and changing, and we're all adapting to this new behavior. One of the ways retail needs to adapt is on how they merchandise products to people. If you think about it in a store, you can really merchandise thousands of products as you walk through the aisles. And what e-commerce has done over the last 10 years is disrupt this and shrunk the store, and you can only merchandise, say, 100 products on a good website. Well, mobile commerce is disrupting e-commerce in the same way, because you can only merchandise a handful of products on a mobile device. So how can Facebook help retailers approach this new world? Well, we have huge, unparalleled reach. If you look at the time spent on all the other large digital properties around the world, Facebook represents more time spent than all of them combined. So our 1.28 billion people and 1 billion people on mobile are available for retailers all the time. What we're also building is solutions for retailers across 3 dimensions that are really important to them. Number 1 is product discovery. How do you get your products merchandised in a digital world? Second is personalization. How do you personalize the experience in a mobile world? And third, return on investment. How do you maximize the return on your marketing in a multi-channel, cross-channel, omni-channel world? So let's talk first about discovery, product discovery on Facebook. Mary, can you tell us a little bit about how retailers can leverage Facebook to merchandise their products?
Of course. When you think about driving discovery in an omnichannel world, it's complex. Not only do you have to think about the cross-platform aspects that Nicolas talked about. Can you drive discovery in web, and mobile applications? You also have to think about how to drive action. It's not enough that your customers see your product or see an ad. You need them to actually take action. You need them to visit your website or fill out a lead form, or finally, and most simply, purchase the product. Facebook thinks about all of these issues whenever we develop products, whether those products are ads, platform integrations, or payment experiences. And when we think about the best way to drive action in this omnichannel world with shrinking real estate, we think about Newsfeed. Why Newsfeed? It's because it's where the people are. It's where they're most engaged. It's where they spend the most time, to the tune of visiting Newsfeed 14 times per day on average. Not only that, Newsfeed is incredibly visual, which makes it an ideal place to showcase products. When you look at products in Newsfeed, they're also very native. Products aren't in some banner at the top of a website or in a pop-up that blocks the content that people want to see. Products in Newsfeed are simply part of the experience. So when we think about the web and mobile web, how do we drive action in Newsfeed? What you see behind me are examples of a page post link ads. What's fairly obvious is that these are very, very visual, which is great for showcasing products and driving action. Facebook has recently made these to accelerate conversion even more with the addition of call to action buttons. These buttons that are labeled Shop Now, Learn More, Sign Up, Book Now, or Download make it very obvious what type of action you want taken with this product. As Nicolas mentioned, though, the time spent on mobile is not just on mobile web. More and more people are spending time in mobile applications. And if that's where the people are moving, that's obviously where you want to be as well. So how do you drive action in mobile applications? The first thing you have to do is get people to install your app. And Facebook's mobile app install ads have driven 350 million installs since launch. That's since 2012. And over 60% of the top grossing applications on the Apple App Store and Google Play Store use mobile app install ads. It's great that these ads can drive volume, but you want them to be effective as well. One of our third-party mobile measurement partners, Fixu, recently ran a study and found that we drove 2 times as many installs as video networks at an 8% lower cost, and drove 9 times as many installs as banner ad networks at a 20% lower cost. So not only are we driving a lot of scale, we're driving it effectively and at a better return on investment for you. It's not enough to just be able to drive the installation. You need people to come back to your app and actually take action. I think about my cell phone. It's got hundreds of applications on it. Hundreds. And I use maybe 5 to 10 on a regular basis, daily or weekly. Most consumers are probably like me, and so you need a way to draw consumers and customers back to your application, to retain them and engage them, and finally convert them to a purchase. Facebook's mobile app engagement ads are a great way to do this. These were launched toward the end of last year, and a person could see a sweater, for example, in their newsfeed, click on Shop Now, and be deep linked exactly into your application, exactly on the page where you want them to be. Not on the front page that displays a number of different products, but on a page that actually displays the sweater and encourages them to complete that purchase. It's great to have these powerful tools on Facebook, but frankly, you want to be able to do this everywhere. Earlier today, Deb Liu announced the formation of our audience network. This allows you to take Facebook's powerful tools and with one click of a button, drive your campaigns onto other mobile applications as well. You obviously want to be able to bring people to your application and to your website. But as I said at the beginning of this section, really, you want them to buy the item. You want them to purchase something from you. And that checkout process isn't the easiest thing in the world. You've got 12 to 15 forms that you need to fill out. And that's often a place where customers drop out of the flow. Last year, Facebook announced the beta of Autofill with Facebook. This gives customers the option to automatically fill in their information based on what they have in Facebook, reducing those 12 to 15 fields to really a click of the button. And we're excited to announce 2 extensions of this product. The first is a feature that we're testing in partnership with Jack Threads. And this is a feature that not only fills out things like your name and address or credit card information, but can also fill out promotional and offer information as well. So if you think about that consumer experience, the consumer sees your product on Facebook with a special offer, and when they deep link into your application, that promotion comes with them. They don't have to do anything else. That promotion comes with them and is automatically applied when they purchase that item. We're also pleased to announce that we're making this product even easier for small developers to adopt with our partnership with Ecommerce.
Great. Thanks, Mary. Now, the second pillar we talked about is this notion of personalization. Personalization matters because in a mobile world, you need to get merchandising more right than any other platform you've been using before. And at Facebook, we really believe that we can help companies make business personal again by giving you the tools to really focus on the customers who really matter to you. Let's go through an example. This is a typical apparel, a traditional promotion you would see. An apparel retailer giving 20% off their shoes to really everyone. Think about this same promotion in a highly targeted way. The same retailer can merchandise the shoes to women who are 18 to 34, who happen to be lapsed customers. You haven't seen them in a while. And they also don't open email, so you really are looking for new ways to interact with them. And they like shoes, which is a great signal for you to really target and adapt the creative. And they live in Seattle, which is where you happen to have your store and your operation. Thereby, you're creating a smaller audience that's going to be much more efficient in terms of targeting than the traditional promotion. Mary, what are the tools that we're building in order to help retailers build these audiences?
When we think about targeting on Facebook, we really think about the people. In an omnichannel world, what you're often targeting is actually a cookie, which doesn't actually represent a person. It represents a browser. But with Facebook's persistent sign-on, you can actually talk to people. When you think about what you want to be able to do with targeting and personalized messaging, you want a lot of scale, but the ability to really precisely target. And Facebook does that. We have incredible scale. There are 1.28 billion people on our platform. And we combine up offline, online, first-party, and third-party data all together to help you better target. Not only that, we can do this precisely. Typically, what you find is when you reach a lot of scale, it's really hard to target precisely. But what Facebook found was that in a broadly targeted campaign, the average online reach is 78% accurate. But with Facebook, it's 92% accurate. And when we look at precisely targeted campaigns, that gap gets even bigger. So how does Facebook do this? We have 3 targeting products, essentially. Core audiences, which allows you to target based off of interests, behaviors, locations. Custom audiences, that allows you to take the information that you already have and bring it into the Facebook system. And lookalike audiences that uses sophisticated modeling to help you identify people who are like your best customers. I think of core audiences as being off-the-shelf targeting. When you're just getting started, don't really have a lot of data to base decisions off of, this is a great place to start. This is also a great thing to layer on top of the data that you may already have to further refine your targeting. Core audiences takes Facebook data and combines it with partner data from Axiom, Datalogix, and Epsilon to help you target people based off of interests, so hobbies, pages that you like. Location, this is fairly obvious, country, state, city. Demographics, such as age or gender, but maybe even more precisely, things like workplace or school, and behaviors such as your mobile usage. So let's take an example. I want to start a website selling wines, Mary's Fine Wine Boutique. And all I've got is an e-commerce site. I don't have any customers. I'm just getting started. I have no data other than my gut on who my best customers will be. So I could use core audiences and choose to target, for example, under interests, I could target fine cooking, fine dining, wines. For location, because I'm an e-commerce business, I can actually only ship wine to certain states. So I only want to target those states. And for demographics, I should probably target over 21. So I've been running my fine wine business for about 6 months now. I've got a bit of a customer list built up. I have people who have purchased from me once or twice, and I really want to bring them back to my website, drive loyalty, and get them to purchase with me more often. Custom audiences allows me to do that. It allows me to take the contact list that I already have, phone numbers, email addresses, user IDs, and find those people on Facebook. And Facebook has made that even more powerful with the ability to dynamically create these lists. So for example, you can place a remarketing pixel on your website, and a customer who encounters that page can automatically be added to a custom audience so that you can talk to them on Facebook. Nicholas here is throwing a dinner party next week, and he comes to Mary's Fine Wine Boutiques to purchase his wine. He's browsing for a little while, added a couple bottles of wine to his shopping cart, but hasn't ultimately decided what bottle he's going to purchase yet. Meanwhile, in the background, his 2 boys are in the kitchen playing, and he's gradually hearing the noise build up there until all of a sudden he hears crash. He quickly shuts down his computer and runs over to the kitchen to find out what's going on. But he hasn't finished that purchase. Because I have a remarketing pixel on my page, Nicholas is automatically added into a custom audience. And when he visits Facebook an hour later, he sees Mary's Fine Wines in his newsfeed and remembers that he has to go back and finish that purchase. Now, Mary's Fine Wines has been in business for about a year now. I've built up a nice business, but I really, really want to find ways to expand my business now, prospect and find new audiences. Facebook's lookalike audiences allow me to do that. It takes things like the fans of my page and my custom audiences, data that I really didn't have when I first started the business, but I do now, and finds people who look like my best customers.
Great, thanks, Mary. So this brings us to the third pillar, return on investment. The promise of digital is that because everything is trackable and measurable, you should be able to drive higher return in your marketing mix than if you weren't using digital. And we see that every day on Facebook. Let me give you a couple examples. Jack Threads is a fashion destination for young males, and they've attracted about 20% of their customers using Facebook ads. So if there are 2.5 million customers, 20% using newsfeed ads and custom audience. And as they did that, they saw a 6x return on ad spend. Another example is POSHMARK. They are a mobile-only fashion marketplace for buyers and sellers of fashion products. And they were really interested in leveraging our mobile app install ads to drive installation of their app. And as they did that, they saw that we offered a 3x higher return than any of the other channels they were using. So we know this works. However, what we also know is that the reality is more complicated. And it's getting more complicated as people are becoming more omni-channel. You need to track them across devices, across channels. As a matter of fact, ComScore did a study showing that 67% of shopping sessions started on a device and ended on another. So Mary, can you talk a little bit about how we think about tracking and optimizing in this omni-channel world?
Sure. As Nicolas mentioned, we're seeing more and more of a trend where people are starting a purchase on one device, such as mobile, and then moving to another device, oftentimes with a bigger screen, to actually complete the purchase. In cases like this, you need to be able to track return on investment across platforms. And things like cookies really can't help in that instance. You need to be able to see what people are doing. So Facebook offers a few solutions for this. If the final action is happening on the web, you can use a conversion pixel. No matter where that ad started, if the action lands on the web, the conversion pixel can match that behavior with the ad. Obviously, web is not enough. We've already talked about how everyone is moving over to mobile apps. And Facebook's app events, combined with the SDK, allow you to track these sorts of actions on an application. So an ad, regardless of where it starts, you can see an action that happens within an app, such as a search or a purchase, and then connect that back to the ad. It's great to be able to measure. You want to know that the things that you are doing are effective. At the same time, you also want to be able to use that data and optimize further and get even better performance. Facebook makes that easy with optimized CPM bidding. What optimized CPM bidding does is it targets the people who are most likely to take the action that you see. So this is in contrast, for example, to simply targeting clicks or targeting impressions. And we do the hard work of actually figuring out what the bid should be so that you don't have to. At the end of the day, omnichannel has made the business of connecting with your customers and communicating with your audience even more complex. But at the same time, it creates a lot of opportunity. The platforms that we have available now are digital, people-based, and at large scale. And that allows us to communicate with people in a way that we've never been able to do before. Knowing who you care about and knowing what matters to them allows you to deliver messages to them that they will care about and that therefore they will take action on. But you have to know who you want to talk to, and you have to have powerful tools to allow you to address them. There's never been a more exciting time to try to make that happen, and Facebook is here to help you on that journey. We are happy to take questions now.
There's a couple of microphones, I think, going around the room, so if you raise your hand, I think there's a couple there. Oh, there. Yeah, sorry. You're next.
Could you explain a little bit more about how the Ecwid partnership works and what type of promotional and offer information are getting pulled in that new test with JackThreads?
Sure. So essentially what we're doing with JackThreads is we're automatically populating promotional codes for you. So if you see an ad within Facebook, there's a promotion associated with it. When that customer comes over to JackThreads, that promotional code can automatically be populated within JackThreads checkout. And the second was Ecwid. So Ecwid is a platform, and so like many platforms, what they do is they provide a suite of tools to e-commerce sites. And the way they do that is by providing scalable tools that you can easily turn on and off. And so what we've done with Ecwid is we've integrated autofill with Facebook into Ecwid so that their customers can easily enable autofill on their sites.
Could you talk a little bit more about the autofill feature? You mentioned that it does credit cards and things like that, and you said that it also does other promotional things. What are the other promotional things that it might do?
So it tries to provide everything that's needed in order to complete a checkout flow. So that includes things like name, address, credit card information. We do this in a tokenized form to protect the privacy of the consumer. And then, as mentioned before, from a promotional perspective, it's essentially promotional codes that we are automatically populating.
Does it also, the demos were on mobile apps. Does it also support mobile web and desktop web?
It supports mobile web right now, and we're looking at desktop.
There's a question over there.
Yeah. So I'm the CEO of the only online pharmacy in the Middle East, and we're always having problems with conversions in this area of the world. So if you have any tactics on how to improve conversion with advertising dollars spent in this region, it would be very helpful.
2 months.
So can you elaborate a little bit on the problem with conversion?
Yeah, so let's say $500 spent on advertising, the conversion is really below any of the numbers you've mentioned. So we're always wondering how can we improve the conversion with in retail and e-commerce in the Middle East. So if you have any tactics, anything that we should be doing differently in outside of the US or in the Middle East specifically, that would be great.
Great, yeah.
Thank you so much.
It's a great question. So I'll start by saying, mobile conversion, as the world is moving to mobile, not only is real estate shrinking and you have less space to do the same work, what we're also noticing as an industry is that conversion is not necessarily similar to what you're seeing on desktop or on tablets. And that's certainly an industry-wide problem. I think a lot of what Mary's talked about goes in that direction of removing friction, right? Link page post ads, autofill, these are all designed to remove friction to ultimately drive conversion. What I can, I can't talk to your specific issue, but what I can recommend, and a lot of people in this room and in the retail industry are doing, is they're trying different things. This is not a cookie cutter, essentially recipe approach. This is a set of tools for you to figure out which are the right audiences. And I think by working, for example, with a preferred marketing developer, you can explore which segmentation would be most conducive to really maximizing the ROI. That's certainly one way to do it. In general, we would say try more things, both on the product side, and certainly track all the way, drop the pixel, but also really think about mixing it up in terms of your audiences. We had a question here. And then back there, and then we'll come.
And then there's one in front.
Can you talk about what kind of differences you see in ROI between install now kind of ads versus, let's say, a transactional shop now ad? From what my experience of ROI is different, and do you plan to tailor the products or pricing to be accommodating to the two different types of advertising? And my second question was about the autofill. What kind of lift have you seen so far in adding that kind of feature on apps?
So with regards to your first question, I think the question of return on investment is these are two very different actions, right, that you're trying to drive, right? An installation and what you derive from an installation versus what you derive from an engagement, these are very different things, and so I actually would expect them to have different economics. I can't comment specifically on pricing, but I would say that I do expect them to have different economics because they're attempting to address different types of problems. With the autofill product, we're in the early days yet. We're still in beta, and so I don't know that we have specific numbers to discuss with regards to conversion lift yet.
I want to add something also on attribution. So attribution makes the problem slightly more complex, which is, are you looking at last click attribution, which is the traditional model that is being used? But what we also notice is that as customers are essentially using several devices, you want to have an attribution method that is maybe more adapted to this multi-touch environment they're really using. And in terms of acquiring a new user, you're going to see very different economics than re-engaging an existing user in a retargeting sort of approach. So same thing, we would see very different CPAs in those two.
Yeah, so I agree with what you said. I guess my question was, is your pricing and product different because they're so different, two different types of ROI?
Well, do you want me to take that?
Sure.
No, right? The pricing is the same because it's all in the auction. So you're literally buying an audience. Now, again, remember, those are mutually exclusive, though, events. These people are either customers of yours or they're not. If they're customers of yours and you choose to really engage with them, they're going to deploy a certain economics. They have a certain value to you. If they're new customers, they have a different value to you. And so it's back to the sort of attribution system on your end that you have to define what you go after and what rules you're using, if that makes sense.
So looking forward a year or two, back here, looking forward a year or two, what are some of the key problems that you're trying to solve for? And also relatedly, what are some of the most requested new advertising products from advertisers? Thanks.
What? Well, we certainly can't make any forward-looking statement on what we'll.
I won't tell anyone.
What Mary will be building. That said, I think this should give you a clear idea of sort of how we think about the problem. And we mentioned conversion earlier. Really, we are building tools for you to maximize conversion, but nobody goes to Facebook to buy something. So we're grabbing your customers in an environment that is not a sort of a vertical search environment, but is a discovery environment. And so, you can expect us to see more things around this notion of getting from discovery to conversion.
I'll add on that. So I think we touched on the themes in this presentation, but if you look at it, obviously one of the things really is this omnichannel world. Everyone's moving towards mobile, and how do you solve the problems in a mobile world? One of the things that we note, for example, is that mobile conversion across all users is 1/3 that of desktop or tablet, right? That's one of the reasons why we've started looking at things like autofill with Facebook. And so when you think about omnichannel, one of the big things really is how do we address things in this mobile world? Real estate shrinking, conversion more difficult, keystrokes painful. What do you do there? I think the second thing that we think about is how we actually extend targeting. How do we make targeting better and better? And you're seeing this in the trends in the products that we're talking about today, where Facebook kind of started with custom audiences, right? That's kind of, or core audiences, excuse me. That's kind of where it all started. And as we add products, we're really trying to figure out how we can better help you target people so that you can deliver the messages you want to the people that you want to talk to. So I think we really addressed a lot of this actually in the presentation, but it's really about those themes.
Question in front?
Yeah, I have a platform that actually monetizes social interaction itself. So it's not like I have a storefront and I've got this kick-ass sweater and I want you to buy it and I grab the user while they're in like looking at baby pictures and I can bring them in and convert them real fast so it doesn't hurt so much to take them away from the baby picture. My thing is more, there's a social interaction happening, it's in real time, It's more or less ephemeral. It's like a 30-minute to an hour-long window in most cases, and you can make a purchase based on that person's location, essentially. And so I'm very interested in the deep linking to mobile web, because one of the obstacles to engagement for us is that people come in and they essentially do not have our app, do not know who we are, and are compelled to make a purchase and convert in about 90 seconds. And so it would help me to have that form already filled out, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is it's user-generated content, right? We're pushing an open graph post, actually, a story. So I'm wondering if this stuff is adaptable. And forgive me, I'm not a developer, I'm a strategy guy. Is this stuff adaptable to that technology? Can I have my user click, on their friend's generated post, come into my mobile web page, which is a buying opportunity based on their friend's location, and allow that form to be filled out already so that it's quicker to conversion, which is the part I think we all get,
I'm trying to, I'm trying to put together exactly the way that your product works.
So I was trying to spare everybody like the pitch, because I don't want to be a hoe. But basically, the way it works is we have a network of venues. You can check in to one of our venues on our platform, and someone at home can click on that Facebook check-in, which looks just like a normal check-in, but then buy something for you and have it delivered directly to your table, like a beer or cocktail or something like that. So you can see the users are posting these check-in posts. Hey, I'm out. It's a Friday night. I'm at Stein's Beer Garden in Mountain View.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden I have people who do not know who I am. 40% of our purchases come from people who've never heard of us before. They click through, they buy, and we deliver it directly to the user's table.
Got it.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah. And so what you're saying is because this is not necessarily starting from an advertisement,
right?
Can you actually use some of that form fill that we talked about?
Yeah, I would love to leverage this. It's just that I have
it.
a really non-traditional use case because it's the user's social interaction that's being monetized, not some product that's sitting there waiting to be bought.
Right. And yes, you can. We can talk. We can talk offline.
I'd love to do that.
We probably have time for one more question. So.
Last question back here.
Last question over there.
Hi there.
Hi.
Are you guys doing anything with the mobile app install ads from a creative's perspective to help eliminate accidental clicks? So of every 100 clicks we get on a mobile app install ad from Facebook, only 2 end up downloading. And we know that a large percentage of those are just accidental clicks from people swiping through the news feed. Do you do anything like 1.5 clicks like Google's doing or anything like that to prompt the user to say, are you sure, or are you sure you'd like to install this ad?
So you can experience the mobile app install ads now, and currently, I'm sorry, I didn't see where the question was coming from.
Back left.
Thank you. And currently, we aren't doing anything along those lines. Obviously, though, we're always looking for ways to improve the performance of our ads and improve the customer experience, because it's obviously not a great experience for people to kind of go off somewhere else, clicking on something that they did not necessarily intend to. And so for all of those reasons, we're always looking for ways to improve that performance and that customer experience.
Do we have time for one more, or are we done? Jackie? Do you think we have time for one more?
Yeah.
Yeah? I think there was one right here.
So for your Jack Threads example, when the person who makes the purchase paying through Facebook becomes a unique user for Jack Threads, can they remarket to them through email marketing and kind of provide a one-click solution where they purchase now with like their Facebook token?
So the way that the experience works is essentially we're automatically filling in this information. And so Jack Threads actually has this information. So the customer has indicated, hey, yes, I want to purchase on Jack Threads. Go ahead, give them the information, make it easier for me to do this. So Jack Threads has the information, and what we provide from a credit card perspective is a token that can get reused, because that's one of the most sensitive pieces of data that customers generally don't want shared. But it does make it possible for you to remarket to that customer and get them to purchase again, essentially. Yes. Yes, and sorry, the point I was trying to make was that because we're actually sending most of that information over to Jack Threads can create an account just as they normally would. And so they can go ahead and talk to that customer again just as they normally would.
Perfect. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, Nicholas. This was leveraging Facebook for e-commerce.
Thank you, everyone.
Give them a round of applause. Thank you. So we have a 15-minute break, and next up we have disruptive mobile businesses. So come back. We have Ime leading a great panel with 5 companies talking about disruptive mobile businesses. Thank you.